I'm delighted to be here. My name is Chidgey. I head up the international education team at the Department of Business and Trade. And joined by my colleague Field Doctor, who's our EdTech Systems Send and Early Years Lead, who will also be speaking to you today. And overall, the key message we wanted to get across to you is that there's UK government support to help you to internationalise, expand your business. And so we want to talk about some of the services that we offer and some of the ways that you can get that support from us and work with us. So firstly, onto the slides. What is the Dept of Business and Trade? Well, I know it's a little bit confusing as there's been a number of name changes over the years. So some of you will remember DTI, then UKTI, then DIT, and now we're DBT. But what does it actually mean? Well, it's bringing together the former business department with BASE with the former Department of International Trade, so bringing together sort of domestic and international elements of the former departments to make it as one-stop shop for business and hopefully simplifying things in that respect. Kenny Bannock is our Secretary of State. I know I have core focuses on growing the UK economy and on securing trade deals and improving market access. So that's just a few of the things that the department does. The aim is to bring together business expertise with world-class trade negotiations, and the vision of the department is to make the UK the best place to start a business. So the department stores investments, unlocks exports, and opens up new markets through trade deals, and as I said, there's a joint offer now to UK business in terms of the domestic support, but also support to internationalise. So in terms of the department, there's probably two parts. The trade policy part that I've already referenced, whereas we sit firmly in the trade promotion part, as where the education sector team rests. And so we're based in Whitehall, quite year to year, what you travel elsewhere. And we have a network of over 300 international trade advisors across the UK. Many of them used to run their own businesses. And we have an excellent network of colleagues overseas, many of whom speak the local language and have really strong relationships with overseas governments and investors and partners. So I'm speaking to somebody this morning who's very interested in China, and yet we have a great team based in China that speak Mandarin, can really help us navigate quite a complex and difficult market. Just to highlight an example. Which brings me on to the international education strategy, which hopefully a few of you have heard of before, which is really the key focus for our team. And the overall goal is to increase education exports, which were around 26 billion in 2020 to 35 billion by 2030. And broadly speaking, we're on track. So that rests as a core mandate for our team and our focus. And we also had a goal to increase overseas students to more than 600,000 to the UK, which exceeded for more than 2 years running. And so due to that and to some sort of complication to building on that, to be frank, our focus now is more on sustainable student recruitment and not only maintaining the excellent higher education export figures, but also helping to diversify and work with other education subsectors to help them grow. For example, EdTech, online, tuition, etc. So in terms of our priority countries, what are the challenges we have is UK education is in demand pretty much everywhere, but we need to try and focus pretty get into the resources on where we think the key opportunities are. So the markets that we've identified are India, Indonesia, Nigeria, Vietnam, and Saudi Arabia. These are the ones that our international education challenges is particularly focused on, and there's done a number of visits to those countries, worked with the key education ministers and other ministers, and led a number of delegations to those countries as well. So we do a lot of work outside of that, but that's where the government focuses. And there's also some other tier 2 countries we could talk about maybe as well. So in terms of how we turn the strategy into reality and just a few of the things that the department offers. We have the Export Support Service, which it's an online inquiry service and it's a way of triaging inquiries. So that should be the first port of call for someone that hasn't exported before. And you can ask fairly straightforward questions about if you're a goods exporter, a goods of origin, or about recognition of qualifications, etc. So that's one thing to be aware of, and it's completely free, and you should hope to hear back in 3 days or so. You might get a call to follow up, or you might just get a written reply. So that's one thing that the department offers. Another thing is the Export Academy, which is fairly new and totally free to access. There's been quite a few education-related seminars that are specialist led, and again, there's some face-to-face workshops, some online courses, and very interesting. It's an iterative process, new models being developed, but it's certainly worth looking at. You can have a check that out, and we could circulate the things in the slides and maybe serve. Another thing I want to highlight is the FTA Hub, which talks about the different trade deals that the department has brokered since being set up in 2016. There's more than 70 trade agreements that have been signed, and we're in the process of negotiating new agreements with a number of countries, including Canada, Mexico, India, and the Gulf Cooperation Council, just to name a few. You might see as well that in recent months, the UK signed a deal to join the CPTPP, which is a large Indo-Pacific and Americas trade group spanning 11 countries, and that's the first time the UK has established a trade deal with Malaysia, which gives businesses better access to economy worth $330 billion in 2022. So just a few things happening there. And whilst not listed particularly in your slides, I should also mention UK Export Finance, which is the UK's external credit agency, which is also available for education exporters. The goal of the UK, as others know, is to make sure that no export funding through manual finance or insurance. So and the sphere will be shortly heading out to Dubai in November. So if any of you are attending, that's a really good opportunity to connect and help the next partners and market out there. And one final thing on market access is about the mutual recognition of academic qualifications that were secured with India, which was a big deal for the university sector in terms of having one-year masters recognised for the first time by India, and then helping student mobility and encouraging the sort of benefits of all of that, and the economic benefits as well. So there's also some more practical sort of policy engagement work that the team focuses on. But I think overall would say that, we're here, there is a government offer, and we are keen to work with UK-based companies and the number of services and we can provide. Which brings me on to Thea, who's going to talk about engaging the education sector. So I'll hand over to Thea. Well,
take care.
Sarah? Morning, everyone. I'm Thea. I'm the editor at school's early year and SEND specialist in the international education team. So I have a broad remit. As Sarah said, I'm going to talk to you about engaging the sector. So this is where we are looking to make sure that we are representing you on the international stage as best we can. So it's really establishing that dialogue. So part of this is that we have the Education Sector Advising Group, otherwise known as ESAG. This is looking to be a cross-sectional as much of the education system as possible, and it's where we really establish a dialogue between the Department of Education, Department of Business and Trade, and the sector representatives. You can see a list of them there, but we try and keep that as diverse as possible. These minutes are published online, so you can go and check the subtopics that are being brought forward by these sector leaders. And it also is an opportunity for them to raise questions, to express anxiety in the sector. So I really encourage you to go and have a look at those. And again, we'll share that link. We have those continually, and they also interact with ministers. So it happens on a very high level in the governmental space. As Sarah said, one of the documents that guides our activities in the international education strategy, which, as again, is 35 billion, per year goal for UK educational exports, and the increase in the number of international students. As Sarah said, we've actually exceeded that number of international students, so we're looking to keep that quite steady, and that is actually looking at higher education students, but we do also feed into helping with K-12 student recruitment on the international level too. So Steve Smith is the International Education Champion and the PM Special Representative to Saudi Arabia for education. So Steve's background as a leader in higher education means that he's able to open doors, break conversations with leaders from across the world in education. He's been active in India, very active in Saudi Arabia. I'm sure many of you have seen a change or a growth in the number of students that you might be from the Middle East, particularly from Saudi Arabia, that are interested in there being education, British curriculum, tuition, and preparation for higher education there. A lot of international schools are actually opening in Saudi Arabia at the moment as part of their Vision 2030 initiative, and preparations of adult transitions from the mainstream Saudi Arabian curriculum is of interest to parents there. So that might be an area that's interesting to tutors. So Steve focuses his time on our priority countries, India, Nigeria, Vietnam, Indonesia, and Saudi. But we also have what we call priority 2 countries, which is Brazil, Mexico, Pakistan at this time. These countries have huge opportunities, but they're not necessarily as progressed at this point for the education market. But we're always working with our teams there to make sure that we're as aware of the opportunity that for you guys as possible. So we've already covered actually the progress against the EIS, so you can just see it there and write them, but you can know that. Education export revenue. So as you can see, it's been very consistent that higher education has dominated our export revenue for a really long time. The value placed on the UK higher education system is generally acknowledged. I'm sure that you have a lot of your students are people who are looking to join the higher education system in the UK. That almost has created its own ecosystem, and while we have a specialist who does cover this, it is something that we get a lot of inbound inquiries about. So we are really, really we're really keen to support the other sectors as much to make sure they're getting less of a share of it. One of the areas that's been added to my remit, SEN, so special educational needs and disabilities, was not actually included before, but it's been a sector that is being engaged with more and more by international ministers of education, and we're looking to make sure that we are promoting and stressing the expertise that we have in this sector in the UK. Recently, there was the Test SEND conference here in London, which was an extraordinary example of the variety that we have in this space. Some of the people there were tutors who specialise in handling special educational needs, and that's we're having a lot of dialogue with ministries about how we can share ideas, how we can promote best practice, or we can even export providers there. So the DBT organogram, this can be the civil service. I only joined civil service quite recently from the private sector, so I really understand that it can be very opaque and it looks like a big beast. So there are kind of 3 spokes to the way that we tackle educational exports. We have our team here in London, and then so we have regional representatives in Edinburgh and Cardiff, and also in Northern Ireland. And we have our regional leads listed in green there, and we cover different regions across the globe. So that might be Middle East to Pakistan, Southeast Asia, Central Asia, etc. They sit across the sectors. They cover those regions, and they maintain a really good dialogue with our specialists in HQ, like myself, and then also their colleagues in the post. The specialists who are there with the lots of here, we take different sectors and we make sure that we have a very close relationship with our sectors here in the UK. We like to understand what your priorities are, what your strategies are, so that we can represent you when inbound inquiries come through. We can say, I know someone who's doing that, or we know that that's a problem. How can we help that to be alleviated? And then abroad, we have trade representatives in many of our embassies all over the world. As Sarah said, a lot of these are locally engaged staff, so they might work in the embassy for 10, 15, 20 years. They have really, really strong ties with the local community. They're very close to the opportunities there. They have local cultural understandings. They understand the regulation. So they provide really, really granular insights that allow us to feed you all the ground information. DBT education website. I would encourage this to be your first port of call, but please, I'm going to be in the big road room for the name of it after this, so please do come and get my contact details and you can get in touch with me directly. But otherwise, if you go to DBT's website, you can find lots of information there. There's a question and answer facility. We also have links to some of our services, and we try and plan our missions as much as possible in advance, so you can think about preparing for those. So you can register for our newsletter as well. We'll highlight those, and you can pick out ones that are relevant to you, whether it's a focus. So, for example, we're planning a STEM photos mission to China next year, then maybe that's something specialised in and not relevant to you. Or it might be a geography you're interested in, and you really want to make sure to have ongoing engagement with clients there. But just touching on mission briefly, I think you feel a really great opportunity. There are some cultures who short view are aware of this, where having face-to-face interactions of being present makes an makes a difference. It increases trust. It promotes your brand. I mean, for example, the Middle East, typically a home it doesn't feel like investment on that. Well, they'll see that was the good. So going out, being present, showing your face, showing you're committed to long-term activity in that place makes a real difference, and there's just going to be a way to do that. Barriers and challenges. Preparing to export is a huge commitment. It requires planning, especially for a small company. If you're a person, you could afford to experiment in a few countries that one would be really good for you. If you're a smaller company, you can't afford to throw spaghetti rules to see what sticks, to make sure that it's ready for you and you're ready for it. One of those collaborators working down when there are going to be barriers to your functioning. Are there regulations? Are there challenges about getting opinion or academic for example, you might need to consider? Main priority looking for these, identifying and working on how to break those down, but equally, we look to the sectors, you guys know it best, you come into contact with these, so when you find barriers, we ask you to test. These ads, you have a list of them, and we work with the target. Ancient, we work with the treasury, etc., to try to break these down. So the all going to partnership between all of us. That's the long distance trade. And Coach Sarah and other idiots, to all the radio factors you have, I hope that was helpful. You?
On the list of members that you had there, I didn't see any representative from the Supper Trust. Do you have any DAG, the Supper Trust, and information that they gather in terms of educational affairs?
To be honest, I don't think we work very much with. Do you say the Sutton Trust? No. Do you think we should be ringing more?
I think it will be a very valuable intellectual crusade for Cathedral, because it was all educational affairs in all sectors, from universities down to the primary sectors, looking at problem solving as well, because they're looking for fairness and equality and things like that, and they have a lot of information which can, I suppose, be channeled to promotion and things like that. But I just didn't see them on the list there, so I thought maybe it'll be a good avenue to read it for.
No, that is a bit of a gap. Okay, interesting. Shows the benefit of attending a youth conference so that I raise the book.
I mean, they do work with the audience quite a lot. I think that there's a lot of work with the university as well, but I'm not an expert in their information, but I think it'll be a very valuable resource, especially if you're looking to export education, and so that people coming in are not looking at some of the gaps, or at least the gaps can be addressed, which they'll have a lot of information about.
Just about the one gentleman suggested that we get to opportunity to work with the Sector Trust and that potentially that could be a gap in the educational sector advisory group coverage. Just discuss with the side, although they have diagnosed there is a number of participants there that had a finding means they are not representing only their body or only their members, that they aren't the key to get a cross section. So it is something that they the problems though they I used to work in is a technically from soft skills as vector skills. So I thought I feel quite strongly about that. It needs to be a feature in education. So it'd be great to see whether or not that could be something we can look to. Hi, listen.
So the east side, I also looked at I'm one of who represents tutors in that. You were at a tutor conference, and I didn't spot anyone on the list that seemed obviously representing our industry. So that was my question, who's representing us there? We're a growing industry, we're filling in the gap in between private schools, public schools, sometimes both, and yet it seemed to miss it.
It's a clear point. I think at the moment we've got COBIS on the school side of things and BCERN representing EdTech, but from the way you frame that, it suggests you feel that that's not sufficient. I know they're not tutoring specific either those organisations, but those are the existing rules. But it's something we can definitely take away and think about further. I know John made a similar point a while back, and actually some individual tutors have made that point. I think for us, we'd also love to capture the commercial revenue data because ministers listen when they hear the size of the revenue and any gaps that they currently are, of which there's likely to be one, it is not a good thing for the sector or for us in terms of showing the importance of it. So yeah, we'll take that away, but it probably the honest answer is there is a clear representative, but at the moment it would be Colin Bell or Caroline Wright who can channel things upwards to ministers. But that's probably the temporary sort of workaround.
I think it's definitely, from where I sit, it's growing sector. Yeah, to the propping up the education sector, if we're honest. The training sector I've been seeing some that they've got but few years ahead of it. Teachers leaving, so that means you've got less qualified staff in the classroom. Quite a lot of us leaving into tuition as a natural progression. And, where you're having less qualified teachers struggling with crowd control, so one is a better word, in classrooms, you'll then need it to help those children that need it, and that's us. So, give us some support, I suppose, or give us representation.
I would say that John for attends Beckland and everything else, met our ministers, but you can also request a ministerial meeting outside of ESAG as well. So that might be an idea.
It adds that to say of the therapy deleted by feeding thought already doing therapy, and they didn't end up at the corporate by accident, I suppose.
Isn't as that definitely when it's fun.
There's an element to which we are already on that journey, but as Sarah White wakes up, ministers like they will also understand. Just a little bit of plea for me that when we do send out these surveys, please make sure you do try and make the to respond, you possibly that, and list out when we are sending these kind of surveys out. We have been running a survey for the last couple of weeks. We'll be sharing data with the deep trade soon. So if you can respond to any of those surveys, obviously any of you are confidential, we don't share specific data about any specific company. We only use these then aggregate data for people to share with DBT and say, look, there is a number here. there is something you should be paying attention to. And then obviously then Sarah's got ammunition to say that there's a case why we should do something. And we can work together and obviously try and move that forward. I feel the same way, and I think Sarah's the same position. We will try and make sure we can move in quite direction.
Sorry, I was thinking of that. Sorry. Let's say you've told us the sort of 5 priority countries that you're looking at working with. Would you offer a different level of support to those that are working not with those countries currently?
No. We would look to do exactly the same level of support. It's those countries are a priority because we see the most growth there.
Right.
It means that we have direct engagement on a very regular basis with their ministries, but that does not isolate other geographies. Also, we have people around all over the world. It's not isolated at all.
There will be places where we've got more or less resource though, but it's definitely correct that there's a lot of work going on. For example, in DBT Kazakhstan, and it's not an official priority, there's some great outcomes there. So yeah.
This is what with DIT previously until a point, I can't remember when it was, that they started offering less support if your business was based in London. I think they said that London was sorted and they needed to help the rest of the country. Is that still the case, or do you offer support regardless of where your business is based?
It's still the case that the International Trade Advisor Network, it's not what it used to be in London. We're based in London, so our team has picked up some of that, but of course we can't afford it. Not sure I'm supposed to say this externally, but I keep going to the case internally that I think it should be put back in place, but it's not my decision. So I'm sure there's not been official response. Yes, you'd feel all right. And but maybe it'll change, but at the moment it's not change. So it's cut to us. So we do have some RTS board in Southeast area. We work really close to that team, but it isn't everything we used to do. Yeah, like that. It's related to the other points about representation and award really. So my question is actually if any repeat of Jewish company Washington could be executive operations called and something training the trade the drawer. The door could kind of would be expecting that today, or the users in advance who are building the job. We may not have representatives of the may not they could quite have that page yet, but having got the big fan called the piece and to kind of use it, but a template or the best of pie was the first. You know. There are a few examples. I can also think of overseas companies wanting to set up in the UK, like Kid in China, it was that. And I can think of a few UK companies doing that overseas, but it isn't, how do I praise this? It isn't a majority of our work. So I can only think of handful. Can you think of?
Yeah, and doing so anecdotal and not for the office. I suppose the challenge of there being case studies is that if it requires people to be recruiting this, so a lot of our understanding of people's experience is only when the DBT's been involved in it, and therefore we can have dialogue with them about what they find challenging and how that works, so it requires them sharing data with us. So again, I would echo George's encouragement to share information when you're doing these surveys. If you have experience with this, we would love to hear it because it means we can make better recommendations and support you better in the future.
So you also pursuing many opportunities to export educational services, which makes sense. You'd be interested in exporting because you're the bottom business straight. But is the government at all interested in importing educational service? Or are there any opportunities for importing education services for growth?
We do quite a lot of work around foreign direct investment, which is when a company that is headquartered overseas wants to set up the back end, create jobs and supply it to the UK market. So we do, but it's always from one view of very self-interested, but it's UK government doesn't benefit the UK. And we have some interesting ones, don't we, where there's some grey areas where it's like, is this really good for the UK?
Yeah, also one of the challenges that, so we work on this less because a lot of the time the education providers might be approaching us, for example, like tech companies, they are looking for advice about UK regulation, and that does tend to sit with the Department for Education rather than the thought this is a trade first. Sarah said, we're the best we expected. That we would have a team that does cover educational capacity we get. So,
Geez, I was this was for Abel get what we said earlier on. So we're a mentor education and we're a tutoring agency, and we've engaged the department for our business of trade unbelievably successfully over the last sort of 2 or 3 months. So we contacted you guys, I don't pay for it all, but we contacted you guys about China. We had a fantastic briefing from the China education team who were in China, who told us kind of everything that was going on. They told us the law. They told us what was really going on in the law. They introduced us to marketing teams out in China, the agents in China. They got an agent from talking to them, from which we picked up work there. And now we're going on a trade mission this year, not next year. But with you guys in 2 months' time. So actually our experience has been absolutely fantastic and really helped. So thank you.
Thank you very much for that. It's able to it's going to get how many will explain.
Oh, particularly world. Sorry, guys. I'll be next door if you want to ask me any further questions, but we're probably in Epic Lane. I know that I just said a rattle. But yeah, lovely to speak to you. Thank you so much for coming.
And you would go to find the I was fine.